Earth reacts to the devastation. The message came without warning, shattering the quiet of Earth's peaceful skies. It was the kind of news no one had ever prepared for. The Galactic Council had struck, and this time, it wasn't just a military strike or a political threat, it was a massacre. The Valoran, Earth's closest allies, had been slaughtered in cold blood. Their fleet, once a powerful ally in the galaxy, was destroyed in a surprise attack. Earth's leaders, who had trusted the Galactic Council for so long, were left in stunned silence. The Valoran, with whom they had fought side by side against threats across the stars, were now nothing more than ashes in space. General Armstrong sat in the dimly lit command center, his face etched with disbelief. He stared at the holoscreen, where images of the Valoran's shattered fleet flickered. The debris of their once mighty ships drifted like broken dreams in the vastness of space. No words could capture the depth of the betrayal Earth now faced. The Valoran, the very ones who had helped defend humanity, were gone, and Earth hadn't even seen it coming. Why? Armstrong whispered to himself. Why would they do this? His words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Across the globe, Earth's leaders were asking the same question. The destruction was swift, violent, and senseless. The Galactic Council had crushed the Valoran, and Earth was left reeling, unsure of how to respond. The news spread quickly. First came the reports, then the emergency broadcasts, and soon, every screen around the world flashed with images of the devastation. Governments scrambled to understand what had happened. The Valoran had been allies for decades. There had been no warning, no diplomatic message, just a brutal, overwhelming assault. And the Council's next words left humanity even more terrified. Surrender now, or face the same fate. It wasn't just the Valoran that had been attacked. It was a clear message to Earth. The Council had deemed their old ally expendable, and now Earth itself stood in their crosshairs. What could humanity do? They were facing the full wrath of one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. The world went into a state of panic. News agencies broadcast the chilling message over and over again. The Valoran's fleet, obliterated, without mercy, was only the beginning. Earth's governments, the military, and citizens around the world braced themselves for what was coming next. Could they even fight back? President Catherine Brooks addressed the world in an emergency broadcast. Her face was calm, but her words were heavy with the burden of what was now their reality. Today, we mourn the loss of our allies, she said, her voice steady. The Valoran fought alongside us, and now they are gone. We will honor their memory, but let us be clear, Earth will not stand idly by. We will defend our home, and we will avenge those we have lost. As her words echoed across every country, humanity began to rally together. There was anger, confusion, and fear, but there was also a spark of something else. Something that Earth had never known before. The feeling of being cornered, of being backed into a corner with no escape, had ignited a fire within every person. Earth wasn't just going to lie down and surrender. They had something the Galactic Council hadn't counted, an unbreakable spirit. But as the people rallied, the military had its own questions to answer. General Armstrong and his fellow commanders knew that retaliation wasn't going to be easy. Earth's forces were not nearly as advanced as the Galactic Council's. Their warships, though powerful in their own right, were no match for the kind of destruction the Council had unleashed. Armstrong gathered his top officers in the command center. The room was tense, each person aware of the stakes. The question was simple. What now? We're going to have to fight back, Armstrong said. his voice grim. "The Galactic Council may think they can crush us, but they don't know what we're capable of." There was no denying the odds were stacked against them, but humanity had always found a way to rise above adversity. The military leaders knew. They had to work fast. Earth's defense systems would need to be upgraded, warships retrofitted, and new strategies developed. There was no time to waste. The first step was understanding their enemy. The Galactic Council had never been known for mercy. They were efficient, cold, and calculating. Their fleets were vast, and their weapons technology was leagues ahead of anything Earth had. And now they had declared Earth their next target. The Valoran's destruction was just the beginning. On the other side of the planet, Earth's top scientists worked day and night, poring over the wreckage of the Valoran fleet that had been sent back to Earth. They had no time to mourn. They had to understand what made the Galactic Council's weaponry so effective, and how to fight it. Every bit of technology they could salvage was examined. Every piece of debris analyzed for answers. Back at the United Nations, Earth's leaders met in a special emergency session. The question on everyone's mind was simple: how do we survive? The global unity that followed the Valoran's destruction was unlike anything humanity had seen before. Political differences, economic struggles, none of it mattered now. Earth had to fight as one, or it would fall as one. Hours turned into days, and Earth's preparations continued. The military drafted blueprints for new warships, better equipped to withstand the Galactic Council's advanced weapons. Scientists began working on energy shields that could withstand the overwhelming firepower of the Council's fleets. Humanity, now more united than ever, set aside its differences to face this common enemy. But even as Earth prepared for war, General Armstrong couldn't shake the feeling that something more was at play. The Galactic Council's actions were brutal. But were they just showing their power, or was there something deeper behind their decision to target Earth? The world had no answers yet, but Earth had one thing that no one, not even the mighty Galactic Council, could take away: hope. Earth's warships, already days passed in a blur of frantic activity. The world had been forever changed by the Galactic Council's brutal attack on the Valoran, and now Earth faced a new reality. What had once seemed like an impossible nightmare was now an undeniable truth. The Galactic Council had declared war, and they had already proven how easily they could erase an entire species. But Earth, bruised and scarred by the loss, was far from broken. They had rallied. The global outcry, the anger, the desire for revenge, all surged through humanity like an unstoppable tide. What had started as fear transformed into a powerful drive to survive and strike back. The attack on the Valoran was the spark that ignited something much greater in Earth's soul, in military command centers across the planet. Earth's leaders and scientists were working round the clock. General Armstrong, who had been thrust into the heart of the crisis, stood at the forefront. His eyes were tired, his mind exhausted, but the fire in his chest burned hotter than ever. The time for mourning was over. It was time for action. "We can't beat them head-on with the ships we have," General Armstrong said as he gathered with his team of military advisors and engineers. "But we can be smarter. We'll use everything we've got, and we'll fight like they've never seen before." Around the room, heads nodded. The first step was simple. Earth had to adapt. The warships that had once been the pride of Earth's fleet were now outmatched, technologically speaking, by the might of the Galactic Council. But that didn't mean they couldn't be enhanced. They didn't have to outmatch the Council's fleets in size or firepower. What they needed was ingenuity. One of Earth's top engineers, Lieutenant Adams, stepped forward, holding up a new blueprint. This is our solution. If we can re-engineer these ships with the latest quantum shield technology and upgrade our weapons systems, we'll have a fighting chance. The plan was audacious. Earth's engineers, along with help from the best minds in space defense, had begun to develop new energy shields that could absorb and deflect the devastating weaponry of the Galactic Council. They weren't powerful enough to block everything, but they could buy time, and in war, that time could mean everything. Meanwhile, Earth's shipyards became the heart of this desperate fight for survival. Fleets of warships that had once been part of Earth's small defense force were being overhauled, retrofitted, and equipped with experimental weapons. Every spare moment was spent working to make these ships as strong as possible, even if it meant pushing the very limits of human ingenuity across the globe. Ordinary citizens contributed in their own ways. Communities were organizing fundraisers to support the military. Schools were converted into training centers, and volunteers signed up to assist in any way they could. Earth's fight for survival was not just in the hands of its leaders, but in the hearts of every citizen, united by a single goal. The Valoran's destruction had left a deep scar, but it had also strengthened humanity's resolve. They knew the stakes. Now this wasn't just about retaliation. It was about survival, not just for Earth, but for everything they held dear. Days later, as Earth's warships neared the launch pads, the countdown began. The fleet was ready as they could be. The ships, newly fortified with the best technology Earth could provide, were prepared to leave Earth's atmosphere and head straight for the heart of the Galactic Council's forces. General Armstrong stood in front of the warships, feeling the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders. The ships before him, battered and rebuilt, represented Earth's best chance for survival. The crew members who would board these ships were not seasoned veterans. They were ordinary men and women, forced into extraordinary circumstances, and yet, despite the odds, they stood strong. "We will make our stand," Armstrong said to his crew, his voice steady. "The Galactic Council may have thought they could wipe us out, but they've made a mistake. This is Earth's time to fight back. We will not go quietly. We will make them pay for what they've done to the Valoran." As the countdown continued, Earth's warships lifted off, their engines rumbling as they rose into the dark expanse of space. The sky above Earth, once a place of beauty and peace, now felt like the battleground of a war that would decide the fate of the planet. The fleet broke through the atmosphere, moving toward the unknown, toward the threat that had loomed over them. The Galactic Council's forces were waiting, massive and powerful, but Earth's ships were different now. They weren't just ships, they were symbols of humanity's fight for survival. The war had just begun, and Earth's warships were ready to face the Galactic Council. But as they entered deep space, the true scale of the battle ahead became clear. The enemy was formidable, and Earth's forces were still learning how to use their new technology. The question that loomed over every soul on Earth was simple: would they survive this fight? As the warships moved deeper into the galaxy, humanity held its breath. The stakes were high. The challenge was immense. But with every passing second, Earth's resolve grew stronger. They were no longer just defending their planet, they were defending their future. The first clash, the darkness of space, was vast, and the stars blinked coldly as Earth's warships made their way deeper into the galaxy. The time for preparation had ended. The mission was clear: confront the Galactic Council and show them that Earth would never bow down. General Armstrong, standing at the command center of the lead ship, felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He had led soldiers into battle before, but this was different. This wasn't just a fight for victory, it was a fight for survival. The very future of humanity hung in the balance, and Earth's fleet was about to face its first real test. "Status report," Lieutenant Armstrong ordered, his voice steady, but with an undercurrent of urgency. Lieutenant Adams quickly scanned the holographic readout. "All ships are in position, sir. We're entering Galactic Council territory. Our fleet is still maintaining the upgraded shields, and the new weapon systems are online. But, sir, we can't be sure how well these upgrades will hold up against their firepower." "Understood," Armstrong replied, tightening his grip on the command chair. "We do our best, and we fight like hell. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best." The tension on the bridge was palpable as Earth's warships pushed forward, nearing the Galactic Council's heavily fortified fleet. The ships ahead of them loomed large in the distance, glowing ominously in the void of space. They were the vanguard, the first wave of Earth's response. The Council's forces were already poised for battle, waiting for the inevitable clash. The silence of space was broken only by the hum of Earth's warships, now fully equipped with shields and weapons that humanity had never tested in combat. The Black Fleet had provided them with the edge they needed, but it was still uncertain whether Earth's forces could stand their ground. Suddenly, the comms crackled to life. A stern, cold voice filled the command center. "This is the Galactic Council. Surrender now, and your suffering will be swift. Resist, and it will be eternal." The voice echoed in every ship, a cold reminder of the overwhelming power Earth was up against, but General Armstrong wasn't one to yield easily. His fist clenched around the armrest, and he spoke firmly into the comms. "This is General Armstrong of the United Earth Fleet. We do not bow. We fight for our future, and we will make you regret ever targeting Earth." The message was sent, and the response came almost immediately, a barrage of energy blasts that lit up the dark expanse of space like fireworks. The first wave of Galactic Council firepower slammed into Earth's shields with an intensity that rattled the entire fleet. Earth's warships groaned under the pressure, but the shields held. "Shields at 80%, Lieutenant Adams called out. "The new tech is working, but it won't last forever." General Armstrong nodded grimly. This was just the beginning. He gestured for the tactical officer to deploy their countermeasures. "Deploy anti-missile grids. Power up the quantum cannons. It's time we show them how Earth fights." The energy from Earth's ships surged as they fired back, their quantum cannons releasing beams of concentrated energy at the enemy fleet. The Galactic Council retaliated immediately, but this time Earth was ready. The upgraded warships darted through the enemy lines with speed and precision, evading fire as they struck with force. The battlefield erupted into chaos. Laser blasts and explosions filled the air, and the two fleets collided with a violent intensity that sent shockwaves through the fabric of space itself. Earth's warships held their ground, engaging in close combat with the Council's ships, using the advantage of their quick, nimble maneuvering. "Direct hit," a voice from the comms called out. "A Council cruiser is going down. It's taking massive damage." The first victory was small but significant. Earth had managed to breach the outer defenses of the Galactic Council. One of their ships, and seemingly indestructible, was now disintegrating, flames erupting from its broken hull. For a moment, Earth's fleet held its collective breath. Could this be their turning point? Had they found a way to break the Council's grip on the galaxy? But the Council wasn't going down without a fight. The remaining ships in their fleet unleashed a new weapon, massive energy bombs, designed to disintegrate everything in their path. Earth's warships swerved and dodged as best they could, but some were hit. Explosions rocked the space around them, and one of Earth's vessels, a smaller cruiser, was torn apart by the blast. The destruction of the cruiser brought an immediate wave of anger and resolve through Earth's fleet. The crew members, feeling the loss, were more determined than ever. They weren't just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their fallen comrades, for the Valoran and for the future of Earth. General Armstrong's voice rang out, firm and commanding. Focus fire on their command ships. Target their energy generators. With a renewed sense of purpose, Earth's fleet began to press harder. Ships fired in unison, energy beams streaking through the void. Their target was clear: destroy the Galactic Council's command center, the heart of their fleet, and end this battle once and for all. The warships moved as one, coordinated in a way that only Earth's combined will could achieve. The Galactic Council's forces were strong, but the fierce spirit of Earth's soldiers, their creativity in battle, and their refusal to surrender proved to be a challenge the Council had never anticipated. As the smoke of battle began to clear, Earth's warships continued to hold their ground. The Council's fleet had been weakened, their flagship damaged, but the fight wasn't over yet. The Empire's last line of defense was still standing strong. We've broken through their lines, but this is only the beginning, General, Armstrong said, standing tall. Prepare for their counterattack. We'll make them regret ever thinking Earth would be an easy target. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the Valoran's destruction, Earth had a real chance. The Galactic Council had underestimated them, and now the tides were starting to shift. A new weapon for Earth. The battle had raged for hours, and although Earth had made some unexpected gains, the tide was far from fully turned. The Galactic Council's forces, despite their initial setbacks, had regrouped quickly. Their advanced ships, heavily armed and seemingly indestructible, were still overwhelming Earth's fleet. Earth's warships were nimble, fast, and equipped with newly upgraded weapons, but they lacked the sheer firepower of the Council's machines of war. As Earth's forces took cover in the shadow of asteroid fields, trying to regroup, General Armstrong knew that Earth's first line of defense would not be enough for the battles to come. The Council had far more advanced weaponry, and Earth's current arsenal was simply inadequate to stop the oncoming storm. There had to be something more, something they hadn't yet considered, in the deepest chambers of Earth's command center. Earth's top scientists were working tirelessly on an experimental weapon that could change the course of the war. They had been given limited time, limited resources, but they were determined to do whatever it took to give Earth's fleet the edge they desperately needed. We need something that can disrupt their shield generators, Dr. Lydia Marcus, Earth's lead weapons engineer, said, looking over her team. We can't keep relying on firepower alone. We need a weapon that can turn the tide, something that can breach their defenses and make them vulnerable. Her team worked around the clock, combining Earth's most advanced technologies with what little they had learned from the Valoran and the Black Fleet. After hours of trial and error, they developed a new energy weaponer, pulse cannon capable of emitting a powerful shockwave that could temporarily disable the shields of the Galactic Council's ships. It's not perfect, Dr. Marcus said, looking at the prototype with a mix of pride and doubt. But it's our best shot. If it works, it will buy us time to make a real push. General Armstrong, now fully aware of the dire circumstances, authorized the weapon's immediate deployment. The new pulse cannon was fitted onto Earth's warships, and the fleet was put on high alert for the next wave of the Galactic Council's attack. "This is it," Armstrong said, standing in front of his crew. "We fight with everything we have. The new weapon is our chance. We need to break through their shields, and we need to do it now." With their new weapon ready, Earth's fleet made its move once again. The Galactic Council's ships were still regrouping from the earlier battle, but their command ship, the heart of their fleet, remained a towering presence in space. The pulse cannon would target its shield generators, rendering it vulnerable as Earth's warships moved into position. The tension was almost unbearable. The fleet was smaller, weaker, but now armed with a weapon that could, just maybe, make a difference. The stakes were higher than ever. "I'm not going to lie," said Lieutenant Adams, his voice tinged with both excitement and fear. "This is our best chance. If this works, we can finally make a real dent in their defenses. If not, well, we're going to need a miracle." General Armstrong gripped his chair tighter, watching the screen intently. "Ready the pulse cannon. All ships, prepare for coordinated fire." As the first wave of Galactic Council ships began to move into position, Earth's warships locked onto their targets. The pulse cannon hummed to life, sending a ripple of energy through the fleet's core systems. The weapon fired, sending a wave of concentrated energy crashing into the shields of the Galactic Council's command ship. For a moment, there was silence. The shockwave from the pulse cannon collided with the energy shields, and Earth's fleet waited with bated breath. Then, the impossible happened. The shields began to flicker. The pulse cannon had worked. Direct hit. Shields up, down to 50%. "We've got a shot." One of the tactical officers shouted, his voice full of disbelief. The Galactic Council's forces were now vulnerable. Without their shields, the command ship was exposed. The warships that once seemed invincible now appeared weak, and Earth's forces took full advantage. Energy beams, missiles, and newly upgraded weaponry struck the command ship's hull, tearing through it like paper. "Now's our chance," Armstrong growled. "Take them down, every single one of them." Earth's warships, newly emboldened, surged forward. For the first time, they were fighting a battle they might actually win. The Galactic Council, caught off guard by Earth's new weapon, scrambled to regroup. Their once unbeatable fleet was beginning to fall apart under Earth's relentless assault. But even as Earth's ships pressed the attack, they knew this victory was not guaranteed. The Council still had the upper hand in terms of numbers and firepower. They had one more weapon, one final defense that Earth hadn't fully prepared for. Suddenly, a new transmission came through from the Galactic Council's fleet, this one direct and chilling. "You think you've won. This battle is far from over. The real war has just begun." The message was short, but it was enough to send a cold shiver down Armstrong's spine. The Council's defeat in this engagement was just a setback, not the end of the conflict. Earth had taken the first step, but it was clear that the real challenge lay ahead. The Galactic Council wasn't going to fall so easily. General Armstrong turned to his officers, a look of determination in his eyes. "We've made them bleed, but this fight is far from over. We're just getting started." As Earth's warships continued to fire upon the weakened fleet, one thing was clear. Earth's new weapon had proven its worth. The Galactic Council may have underestimated them, but Earth had found a way to fight back. The battle for survival had just begun, and Earth was more determined than ever to win. The final push, the brief moment of triumph that Earth had tasted, quickly dissolved as the realization of the battle's true scale began to set in. The Galactic Council may have been temporarily disabled, but they were far from defeated. Their massive fleet had not yet been fully shattered, and Earth, despite their ingenious pulse cannon, was still outmatched in terms of sheer numbers and firepower. General Armstrong stood at the command center, his fingers tapping the edge of the table as the data streamed in. Earth's forces had made significant headway, but the Council wasn't going to surrender quietly. The final push would require more than just willpower. It would require everything Earth had. "We need to end this now," Armstrong said, his voice hard, eyes focused on the holographic map in front of him. "The Council is regrouping. If we don't destroy their command ships now, they'll reassemble their forces, and we'll be back at square one." The room fell silent. The situation was critical. Earth's fleet was low on resources, with many ships damaged, shields flickering, and the crew physically exhausted from the relentless fighting. But there was no turning back now. The path ahead was clear. Earth had to strike at the heart of the Galactic Council's command. Adams, the tactical officer, looked up from his console. "General, we've pinpointed the location of their flagship. It's heavily protected, but the pulse cannon's power has made a dent in their defenses. If we hit them with everything we've got, we might be able to break through their final shields." There was a pause as everyone in the room absorbed the magnitude of the situation. The flagship of the Galactic Council was the key to the entire fleet's power. If Earth could destroy it, the entire fleet would fall apart. But it wouldn't be easy. The Council's last line of defense was about to be unleashed. "I want every ship in the fleet focused on that target," General Armstrong said, his voice unwavering. "We'll make this final push together. We'll use our remaining weapons and strike while they're vulnerable." The countdown began. Earth's warships, though battered and worn, had one final chance to turn the tide. Their quantum shields, though strained, still held firm. The pulse cannons, frillable and tested, charged up again, preparing for the final assault. Every ship in Earth's fleet began to align, their weapons primed for the mission ahead. As the warships approached the Council's flagship, the air was thick with tension. The battlefield, once chaotic and unpredictable, now felt almost personal. The Council had not just attacked Earth, they had decimated their allies, left a galaxy in ruins, and now Earth was ready to make them pay. Adams's voice cut through the silence. "General, they're deploying reinforcements. Their warships are moving in. We'll need to act fast." General Armstrong's eyes narrowed. The Galactic Council's arrogance had led them to underestimate Earth, but now they were pulling out all the stops. Their warships were massive, their firepower overwhelming. But Earth had something else: strategy, resolve, and a reason to fight that the Council could never understand. "Prepare to fire everything we've got," Armstrong ordered. "All ships, focus on their flagship." The moment Earth's warships opened fire, a cataclysmic explosion rippled through the void. Beams of energy from the pulse cannons, quantum missiles, and laser turrets all struck the Council's flagship in a simultaneous, devastating barrage. The flagship, though powerful, couldn't withstand the combined force of Earth's onslaught. The shields flickered and failed. The ship's hull cracked, and for a fleeting moment it seemed as though victory was within their grasp. "Direct hit," shouted a technician. "We've breached their core. They're losing power." But just as the cheers started to rise, a new, terrifying force entered the fray. The Galactic Council wasn't going to go down without a fight. Their last, most powerful weaponer, massive warship designed to end Earth's resistance, once and for all emerged from behind the flagship. It was enormous, dwarfing even the largest ships in Earth's fleet, and it was bristling with weapons. "This is it," General Armstrong said, his voice tense. "We're not done yet. Focus fire on that new ship," as Earth's warships fired everything they had left. The new Council warship retaliated with an intensity that shook the entire battlefield. It released torrents of laser blasts, each one more powerful than the last, tearing through Earth's ships. One by one, Earth's warships were struck, their shields barely holding as they pushed forward. But Earth was not ready to give up. They had come too far to fail now. General Armstrong, gritting his teeth, gave the final order. "Activate the final weapon, now." The final weapon was a last-ditch effort, a weapon so powerful that its use could turn the tide of the battle. Earth had kept it in reserve, unsure whether it would be needed, but now was the time to unleash it. With a single command, Earth's warships synchronized their energy cores, charging up the ultimate beam of concentrated energy, ready to fire. As the Galactic Council's warship prepared for its next strike, Earth's warships launched the final attack. The energy beam, a massive blast of pure power, shot through space like a comet, striking the Council's warship with the force of a supernova. The explosion was colossal, blinding in its intensity. For a moment, there was nothing but the light of the blast, followed by a deafening silence. When the light cleared, the Council's warship had been reduced to debris, its once proud form shattered beyond recognition. General Armstrong exhaled, his hands gripping the command chair. "We did it. We've won." The remaining Council forces, disoriented and leaderless, began to retreat. The once mighty Galactic Council was now broken, their fleet in disarray. Earth's victory was not just a military win, it was a declaration that humanity could start and would stand against the greatest threats the galaxy could throw at them. But, as the warships turned toward home, Armstrong couldn't help but feel a strange mix of relief and foreboding. The Galactic Council had been defeated, but Earth had just made powerful enemies. And somewhere out there, beyond the reaches of Earth's territory, there were forces who had watched this war unfold, ready to step into the void left by the Councils. Fall. The battle was over, but the true future of Earth was still unknown. This was just the beginning of humanity's journey across the stars. The Council's last stand, the aftermath of the battle, was both a triumph and a sobering reality. Earth had successfully destroyed the Galactic Council's flagship, their final weapon, and scattered their fleet. The victory was hard won, and for a brief moment, humanity allowed itself to breathe. But General Armstrong knew better. The Empire had been brought to its knees, but their defeat didn't mean the war was over. Far from it. The Council was known for one thing: resilience, as Earth's warships slowly regrouped. Limping back to their base, General Armstrong's thoughts were consumed with what had happened and what was yet to come. They had destroyed the heart of the Galactic Council's fleet, but what about the rest of the Empire? What about the thousands of other warships, commanders, and weapons scattered across the galaxy? Earth's forces were strong, but could they hold on against the full might of a vengeful empire? "We've beaten them, but they won't stop," Armstrong muttered to himself as he stared out at the recovering fleet. "The Empire will rebuild, and this won't be the last time they come for us." The command center was silent. The damage to Earth's warships was significant, and it was clear that the military wasn't prepared for the aftermath of a prolonged conflict. The costs of the war were being calculated, but the loss of life and resources was staggering. As Armstrong stood in the dimly lit room, the holographic displays showed the debris of the Galactic Council's once proud warships scattered across space. For a brief moment, it seemed like the universe was breathing again. Earth had won, but a nagging question lingered. What had Earth truly won? The silence was shattered as Lieutenant Adams entered the command center, his face grim. "General, we've detected a fleet approaching from the outer rim. It's massive. They've sent reinforcements." "How many?" Armstrong asked, turning sharply to face him. "Too many to count," Adams replied. "They've rallied forces from every corner of the galaxy. It's the last push. They're bringing everything they have." The realization hit Armstrong like a punch to the gut. The Council hadn't surrendered. They hadn't given up. Instead, they were regrouping, gathering their forces, and preparing for one final battle that Earth might not survive. The approaching fleet was unlike anything Earth had encountered. This wasn't just a strike force. It was the backbone of the Galactic Council's empire, the reinforcements from worlds they had conquered in secret. It was a full-scale offensive, a show of strength that Earth had never expected. "They've underestimated us once," Armstrong said, his voice steady despite the fear growing inside him. "But this time, we're ready." The remaining ships of Earth's fleet were quickly patched up and fortified with the best technology they had. The new weaponry, enhanced shields, and upgraded systems were tested once again as Earth's warships prepared for their final stand. The question remained: could Earth's fleet hold its ground against a force of this magnitude? The new warships took their positions, each ship brimming with the hopes of humanity, ready for the ultimate test. The fleet's commanders knew this could be their last battle. If they failed, the Empire would take what remained of Earth's resistance and crush it. As the Galactic Council's reinforcements approached, their massive fleet silhouetted against the stars, the mood on Earth's warships was solemn. There was no room for mistakes. If they lost this fight, humanity would fall under the heel of the Empire. General Armstrong stood before his fleet, his gaze unwavering as he spoke to his crew. "This is it. We've faced the impossible before, and we will face it again. The Galactic Council believes we are weak. They believe they can crush us. But what they don't understand is that Earth doesn't bow. We don't surrender. We fight." The fleet's commanders, crew, and soldiers were ready for the fight of their lives. They knew the stakes. Earth's very existence was on the line, and this time they had no backup, no reinforcements to call on. The battle would be fought on Earth's terms, and Earth's terms alone. As the first salvo of energy blasts rained down from the approaching galactic fleet, Earth's warships launched their counterattack, their weapons flashing with fury. The battle began with a chaotic roar of weaponry, ships darting through the void, launching missiles and energy beams with deadly precision. The Galactic Council's fleet was relentless. They came in waves, their ships moving in unison, forming a nearly impenetrable wall of firepower. Earth's forces, though outnumbered, fought back with everything they had. They used the asteroid fields as cover, darting in and out, striking quickly, then disappearing into the darkness of space. They fought like predators in a hunt, using every bit of their agility and speed to outmaneuver their larger enemies. For hours, the battle raged on. Earth's ships were taking hits, their shields weakening, but they fought with the fury of a species that had nothing left to lose. The new weapons, the pulse cannons, worked wonders. disabling the Council's shields, just long enough for Earth's forces to break through their lines. But the galactic fleet was vast, and no matter how many ships Earth took down, more seemed to appear. And then, as the final push began, General Armstrong received an unexpected message, one that would change everything. "General Armstrong, this is Admiral Jarl of the Black Fleet. We're here to help." A cold shock ran through Armstrong's body as he stared at the message. The Black Fleet, an enigma, a mysterious force from deep space that had come to Earth's aid. Their true motives were still unclear, but this was the turning point. "Admiral," Jarl Armstrong said, his voice filled with disbelief. "We're ready to end this." "We will fight alongside you," Admiral Jarl replied, the transmission crackling with energy. "Together, we will bring the Galactic Council to its knees." In an instant, the Black Fleet's ships appeared out of the shadows, moving at unimaginable speeds. Their sleek, dark forms surrounded Earth's fleet, opening fire on the Galactic Council's forces with devastating power. The Council's ships faltered, their lines breaking as the unexpected reinforcements tore through their ranks. The Galactic Council's fleet was no longer unified. The tide had finally turned in Earth's favor. But as the Galactic Empire's forces began to retreat, the real battle was only beginning. Earth, now aligned with the Black Fleet, had faced the impossible and won. But the cost of this victory would be felt across the galaxy for years to come. Earth's victory and retribution, the final moments of the battle, were like a crescendo, rising in intensity until it reached a point of explosive chaos. Earth's warships, now bolstered by the Black Fleet's arrival, had turned the tide of the war. The Galactic Council, once so sure of their dominance, now faced the undeniable fact that Earth was no longer the easy target they had thought. The strength of Earth's resolve, combined with the mysterious might of the Black Fleet, had driven the once mighty Empire to the edge of collapse. General Armstrong watched as the last remnants of the Galactic Council's fleet tried to flee, but their chances of escape were slim. Earth's warships, with their newfound allies, surrounded them on all sides. The battle that had started as a desperate defense had now become a powerful offensive. "We have them trapped." "Sir, Lieutenant," Adams said, his voice full of both relief and disbelief. "The Council's ships are retreating, but they're out of options. We've broken through their defenses." For the first time in weeks, General Armstrong allowed himself to feel the weight of the moment. His hands, which had been clenched tightly around the command chair for hours, loosened. His eyes stayed fixed on the holoscreen before him, watching as the Galactic Council's once proud fleet faltered and disintegrated. The Black Fleet, their silent, deadly allies, had proven invaluable, wiping out the last pockets of the Council's strength. "This is it," Armstrong muttered under his breath. "We've won." But there was no celebration in his heart, not yet. The price of victory had been steep, and the cost was felt in every corner of Earth's fleet. Ships had been destroyed, lives lost, and the galaxy itself was scarred. And as the last remnants of the Council's fleet turned to flee into the depths of space, Armstrong couldn't help but feel a strange sense of unease. Even though Earth had won, the war wasn't over. The Galactic Council, though broken, would return, and the Black Fleet, as helpful as they had been, still held their own secrets. What would happen when the galaxy realized that Earth was no longer just a small player? It was a force to be reckoned with. The Black Fleet's ships began to move closer, their sleek forms drifting through the chaos of space like shadows. General Armstrong couldn't help but watch them, wondering if they had truly come to Earth's aid or if they had their own agenda. Just as the last enemy ship was disintegrating, a message appeared on Armstrong's console. The transmission was direct, and as it crackled to life, General Armstrong's heart skipped a beat. "General Armstrong." Admiral Jarl's calm voice rang through the command center. "This is Admiral Jarl of the Black Fleet. The Galactic Council has fallen, but the galaxy is vast, and many eyes are watching." "What do you mean?" Armstrong asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "You have proven yourself worthy, Earth, but this is only the beginning." Admiral Jarl's voice remained steady. "The Black Fleet has watched your strength, and we now know that you are capable of much more than anyone could have predicted. The galaxy will take note. Some will see you as a beacon of hope, others as a threat." General Armstrong frowned. What was Admiral Jarl not telling him? "What happens now?" Armstrong pressed. "Now," Jarl said, "now Earth has a choice. You can stand alone, continuing your journey as an independent power, or you can join us. We offer an alliance, one that could change the course of history. The Council may be broken, but others are waiting in the shadows. The universe is not what you think it is. The Black Fleet has fought many battles, and we are not just an ally, we are part of something greater. You have seen our power, and we now ask you to walk with us in the galaxy's dark corners." The words hung in the air. Earth, having fought for its independence, was now being offered a chance to join a force that had both saved and tested them. The Black Fleet's offer was tempting, but Armstrong had seen enough of the galaxy's power plays to know that alliances were never simple. "And if we refuse?" Armstrong asked. Admiral Jarl's voice grew slightly more intense, though still calm. "Then you will face the consequences, General. The Galactic Council's defeat will ripple through the galaxy, but they will not be the only threat. There are powers out there, far greater than even the Council, waiting to see how Earth handles its newfound strength. The choice is yours. You can remain isolated, a small planet among the stars, or you can join us. The galaxy is changing, and your place in it is still being written." The transmission ended, leaving General Armstrong staring at the now empty screen. The Black Fleet's message was clear. Earth had survived the battle, but the real struggle was just beginning. There were still unknown forces in the galaxy forces that Earth would soon have to face. Turning away from the console, Armstrong glanced at his crew. "What do we do now?" Lieutenant Adams asked, his voice uncertain. "We prepare," Armstrong said firmly. "We've won this battle, but the war is far from over. The galaxy is a dangerous place, and Earth is no longer the tiny speck once was. We'll make our own way, and we'll be ready for whatever comes next. And if the Black Fleet wants to offer us an alliance, we'll listen, but we won't be swayed. Earth has fought for everything we have, and we'll continue to fight for our place in the stars." As Earth's warships regrouped, preparing for the next chapter, the galaxy stretched out before them vast, uncertain, and full of untold possibilities. Earth had made its mark, but what came next would determine whether they would be a beacon of hope or a target for destruction. The battle was over, but the future was just beginning.